7 names, no games as I run it down the line. We got Kenny Ken, put 100 on the tees with the streak for the cash. He ESPN. Seth Curry with the shot. The prodigy. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, L-Dad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the league ambassadors, and we playing to win. At the 2-yard line, and make no mistake, we running it in. Pete Carroll, we see you.
Welcome to 32 Kings Road, hosted by the league ambassadors. I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and it is my pleasure to be here today with my brothers. This is episode 56, season 3 of our show. And what we want to do today is we want to check in on the first 2 combatants in the 2018 NFL International Series, see what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks and Les's Oakland Raiders. But first, as a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. That is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Once again, our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Please also check out our website, theleagueam.com, where you can see previous episodes of our show, 32 Kings Road, as well as our secondary show, Confirmation Bias. Junior Blue, welcome back, sir. We missed you last week. What you sipping on?
I got this Heineken here. It's a little leftover from one of my best friend, Mr. Moses' wedding. I just want to send a congratulations to him and Kelly. They're actually out in Ocho Rios right now, enjoying their honeymoon. Mm-hmm. But it was a great time.
Was it?
Yeah, we had fun at the wedding, and we had fun before the wedding. And so, once again, congratulations.
All of us had fun.
Some more than others.
Dad, what you sipping on, sir?
How's my mic? We all right.
Don't get too close.
Don't get too close, unless. So to go along with the name of our show today, which is episode 56, right?
56.
The Jilly Philly special. I want to give a great big old shout out to
Did you
Philly's
get your
own.
deep voice on?
I want to give a big shout out to Jilly from Philly. You know who you are. Shut the internet down today. We see you. We want to see more of you.
Big ignorant shout out.
Kev, what you sipping on, sir?
Gentlemen, I'm sipping on my off-brand peach tea that I keep telling y'all, Benner's is better than Snapple. Shameless plug. But I'm going to try to keep it football related. I'm sipping on the fact that the much maligned Tennessee Titans finally have an identity. And they are officially the trolls of the NFL now. If you remember what they did to Philly when they beat them, they mocked their team touchdown celebration. And in this past week, they mocked the Patriots wide receiver to quarterback pass that the Patriots continue to fail en route to smashing the Patriots. So although we don't know who they are, they have their role in the NFL now, and it's good to see.
I'm sipping on fire. First of all, want to send out condolences to those individuals that have suffered loss during the wildfires that are happening literally throughout the entire state of California. But I'm also sipping on the fact that climate change is real, folks, and we need to wake up. There was a protest today outside of Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's office from the... without getting overly political here, the left-wing version of the Democratic Party, demanding that the House of Representatives, the House Democrats, put forth a climate change plan. So, on the political level, attention is being drawn to it, but I, just speaking on behalf of citizens everywhere, we got to start paying attention to our planet, because this is ridiculous. With that, Red O, what are you sipping on, sir?
Sipping on a little Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Also going to sip on, which was a hard day for me yesterday. Stan the Man Lee passed away. The icon, one of the greatest comic book creators of all time. No, the greatest comic book creator of all time. There's not a Marvel story that happens today that was not touched by Stan Lee over 60 years ago. And the only reason why I speak on him is because comic books, if you know me, comic books are a big part of my life ever since I was 13. Actually 12, I'm sorry. I have been an avid collector of comic books. Comic books have kept me out of a lot of trouble. I was collecting comic books instead of doing other shit. So just on behalf of Stan Lee, I wanted to tell a story of how I actually got into comic books. It was 1988. I was
27.
Devin, you ain't shit.
Hey, Kev, I was trying to argue with him at first. Was I? I was getting bused to my middle school, and I had like read Spider-Man books before. It had never really appealed to me, but I never really paid attention. Like, you skip through them, you see the pictures, all the good stuff. So this kid named Brian, Asian kid named Brian, who used to sit across from me on the bus, it just so happened he sat next to me and he was reading a X-Men comic book. And I'm looking at the cover and it's just a bunch of dead people on the cover and it says Fall of the Mutants. And, if you know me, I like a little death and destruction. So, like, it was just like,
really?
It interested me, right? So I asked him to let me read it. And of course, he went through this little 1 minute lesson of how to actually read a comic book without destroying a comic book and all this good stuff. So I'm thinking he's tripping, right? But he's an actual collector. So I read the book, and by the time I got to the end of the book, I wanted to read the issue before it. I wanted to read the issue after it, because I was totally enthralled with the X-Men. It was this dark storyline. Mutants weren't shit in the eyes of the rest of the world.
Sound familiar?
It sounds familiar. And it was something that hit me, and I wanted to keep going with it. So Brian saw me, and he saw dollar signs.
Cha-ching.
Got him. So like that book he let me read. He was like, yeah, man, this is worth like $25. I can let it go for $10 though. I was like, for
The
real?
hustle's for real.
For real? Like I was happy. Like, he put it in the plastic, put the tape on it. I was like, oh shit, this is special. Shit was worth 75 cents. Motherfucker was almost brand new. But it looked like it was something special, and it had sparked an imagination in me. And so the next week, he would bring me 3 more. It's the 2 before that, the books before and 1 after. The price kept going up. This fool got me for like $100 before I found the local store in my neighborhood and price checked them things. So...
that's a fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you beat his ass?
Well, first of all, he was 2 times the size of me. You forget, back then I was tiny.
That don't stop you now.
You right. I didn't say I wasn't trying to fight the dude. I'm just saying. So I get back to him and I sit next to him and I just I was about to say I was a smart ass. So I break out the price guide and I was like, hey man, this is brand new. You took all this money from me, and he was like, well, you should have known better. So at this point,
he hit Omar with the Omar.
Yes. So at this point, we get off the bus, and I'm thinking all day, like, it's just making me more angry and angry as I think about it. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm getting bussed into this school. I like this school. I'm not trying to lose my position in this school. I'm gonna hit him with something else. So I'm gonna play chess with him. We get back on the bus, and I say, look, man, my brother from East Coast, Gangsta Crip. If you don't give me my money back, all the homies gonna come to you.
Oh my God.
And he looks and he goes silent. He came back the next day with $85. He said, I spent the other 15. I was like, man, you can keep it. Just give me my money. For real. For real,
my brother on you.
Yes!
I'm gonna get my brother.
I used that. It worked.
It worked.
God jokes. Hey, but man, I tell the story just because, for one thing, regardless after all that shit, like Brian, he got me hooked, and it is always been my crack habit from then on out. And to this day, I'm 42. I still collect comic books. It's still a part of me, something I believe in. And I thank Stan Lee because I was a Marvel person, and his imagination and his belief in civil rights, which actually came about, which is why the X-Men came about. So that was, just want to share a little bit of my history of how Stan Lee touched my life.
You could have replaced comic books and inserted crack cocaine, and it would have sounded exactly the same.
That's why I tell people all the time, it's my crack habit.
Hey, the funny thing is, this is how much he's into comic books. My son was having a birthday party. We were having like a comic book theme. My wife like, Omar, where do you get your comic books? She goes to the store, walks in the store, and she's like, hey, my friend Omar told me I should come up here and get some books. He gave her like 20 books for free.
Because of Omar.
Because of Omar. Because that's how much money he spent.
You still go to that spot on Wednesdays?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and shout out to Mike, who owns the comic book. Because of him, he gave me a ticket to go see Stan Lee on my 40th birthday. Like,
clip that up.
That was
send that to the comic book.
Oh yeah.
You still have the first one you got?
The first. Oh
From
no,
Brian?
I don't have that original one, but I repurchased it.
For more than $10?
It was worth every penny.
Hey, Omar, I'll admit I wasn't necessarily the biggest comic book fan, but props to Stan Lee and the worlds that he created, the characters he created, like you and Devin said, the way that those stories resonated with Black people. I mean, it was almost like an escape from, the world we have to live in to realize that, we do have superhuman powers. That,
It's called basketball.
We need to appreciate it.
It's called athleticism.
Where do we go from here?
Well, speaking on athleticism and superhero, not necessarily powers, but maybe some superhero intervention. Devin, let's get to our get the fuck out of here with that bullshit where literally the miraculous happened this Sunday.
Yeah, it was quite spectacular. So let me go ahead and get my music here. Turn that down a little bit for me, Mike.
Bye.
So, and what I've been describing all year as the year of the kicker. It's only right that this week's installment of Get the Fuck Out of Here with That Bullshit comes from the kicking fraternity. So far this year, we've had over 40 missed point after touchdowns, which we call extra points. Several games have been decided by kickers. We've had 2 ties this year due specifically to kickers and their struggles in that position. The heavens almost fell 3 weeks ago when Mr. Automatic Justin Tucker missed an extra point to fail to send our game into overtime. So it's been a really weird year. 13 kickers have been cut, and Connor Barth has been cut twice. But this Sunday, something that has never happened. Cody Parkey from Omar's Chicago Bears missed 2 field goals. Cody Parkey missed 2 extra points.
How did he miss them, Dev?
But most impressive in all of this is he hit the goalpost not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 fucking times. He didn't discriminate on which end zone it happened in. It happened on both end zones, north and south. He also did not discriminate on which part of the post that he hit. He hit the right side 3 times and he hit the one on the left once. He left 8 points on the board, which luckily didn't matter as they had the game in hand versus Kenyon's 3 and 6 Lions.
Oh, I was confused.
Cody already missed the field goal in overtime this year that decided the game that they lost. So now if we want to see our lovable loser, Ritto, happy, he has to tighten this shit up. As this could be a problem for a Chicago Bears team that's pretty good and it looks like they're headed towards the playoffs. Down this stretch, they have to be able to put games away. So Cody Parkey, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Do your job and make some kicks.
Like I said, man, you couldn't pay someone to hit the goalpost 4 times.
Yeah.
Like this is almost
But then
impossible.
what did I say to you? I said,
We are paying.
As my father, the great Slugnificent, always says, that boy couldn't hit an elephant in the ass with an ironing board. He did his best.
All right. So let's get to our check-in. We're going to do this for the next 3 weeks. We're going to check in on the teams that have played in London this year because, as you all know, if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that we exist because we want to engage the international audience, our global fans of popular American sports. And so on this same weekend where there's been a cancellation internationally, which we'll get to in a little bit, we figured it'd be a good time to look back at the teams that played over in London. Let's check in. Let's see what's going on with them. So first of all, we will start with the Seattle Seahawks and the Oakland Raiders. That game was played. We actually were at that game, and this is now 2 years in a row where we go over to London. One of our teams is represented, and they are absolutely demoed. Shellacked. 27-3 was the score at Wembley Stadium. The Seattle Seahawks are now 4-5. The Oakland Raiders are 1-8. We will start with the Seahawks. They've gone 1-2 since London. Their 2 losses, though, have been to 2 of the best teams in football, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams. First question I have for you guys is, what has gone right for the Seattle Seahawks since London? Junior Blue, I'll start with you.
I'll say that their offensive line, even though they haven't pass block very well, they're starting to run block. They've had a couple games with 100-yard rushers, and there have been different persons. Kason got 100, Penny got 100 in another game. So, I mean, I think that's the best thing for them.
Okay.
The thing that's gone right.
I think what's gone right is the fact, well, for me and Omar thought that they was going to be absolutely shit this year.
Yep.
And I think along those lines, they've been able to overcome their shortcomings by running the ball. And they've come around to be a pretty decent team that might have a shot at making the playoffs, depending on how some things shake out.
Yep.
Well, technically, nothing has gone right. They lost 2 games after they got back, right? Like, it's not like they've won games.
Yeah, but I mean, they're definitely in the playoff hunt, and I think to Devin's point, I don't think any of us really thought much of them.
Right. No, I didn't. But the one thing they do is they play. They are in every game. It's almost like it's just one tick. Like something's missing. They play everyone tough.
Yeah, I think it's that they're missing a playmaker. I think they're 1 or 2 playmakers away from being the Seahawks team that they have been. And I think for me, that is the thing that's gone right, is we've seen coming into the season, there was a lot of conversation about, is this a rebuilding year? They don't want to use the word rebuilding. It's retooling. They wanted to really stay away from it. The fact of the matter is it's been, Kevin, it's been a pretty successful, we'll call it a re-up.
They may get to 8-8.
Because their defense has gotten better as the season has progressed. They've gotten healthier in the backfield. Russell Wilson is still a really good player. I just think that they're just missing a playmaker. What do you feel, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the makeup of their roster now. Of course, they have Doug Baldwin, and we know what his intentions are.
Secure the bet.
Who else are they going to put on that team to help supplement? But this is one of the things we saw coming with that roster breaking down, with Russell Wilson being the focus of that team. For me, I agree to the points you guys made about the offensive line, and specifically with Russell Wilson, they protected him a lot better compared to the first half of the season, where he was sacked 18 times before the Raiders game and only 10 times since then, which still a lot, but it was almost double than before, and he's only thrown 1 interception. So I think if they can continue to just keep this boat above water, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but at least they're not going back into the 4-12, 5-11 abyss that we all predicted they would.
Staying with you, Kevin, what has gone wrong for the Seahawks since London?
Well, outside of the Lions game, which isn't a surprise, but they haven't been able to stop the run. They struggled against the Chargers, struggled against the Rams. Of course, those are 2 of the better running backs in the league. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. If another team can punch you in the mouth, you're likely going to fall to a losing record or be 8-8 or at least have a chance in every game. But I mean, anybody can stop the Lions. Outside of that one game, they rushed over 100 yards.
You know, the scheduling just wasn't wasn't friendly to them. You know, but even then, like you look at if they can somehow find a way to beat Green Bay, you know, the schedule eases up a little bit afterwards.
Yeah.
So, like, their scheduling was not their friend coming back from London.
Yeah.
Should they be invited back to London?
Let's not forget Paul Allen died the day after that London game.
Ooh, true story.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
True story.
Yeah.
Which one could argue that's probably. In fact, I was
Something
actually.
that went wrong.
It's interesting that you actually bring that up, Les, because that reminded me. I was reading this week. I guess in Paul Allen's will, if the team, not that the team is for sale, but if it is to be sold. Now think about this. In his will, it mandates that the proceeds from the sale should all go to his foundation to be given away. We're talking about easily
$2 billion,
$3 billion. So even in passing, Paul Allen is still just on the forefront of generosity. Should they be invited back to London, Dad?
Absolutely. As a fan of a team that travels well, when we went to London, there's 2 hubs for each team.
Right.
The Admiralty was where the Raiders were, which was a pretty decent crowd. It was probably like half of what the Ravens was, but it was a good turnout. That's where
circumstances. That
Yeah.
right. Let's say was found that day.
No, we talking about the
police officers. The protest, yes. But I mean, it was still a good turnout. But when we went to the bar that the Seattle Seahawks had,
Yes.
the line was
Line down
around the corner. And the only reason why we even got in because we flashed our credentials. And as soon as we got in there, we was like, we're not. It's too crowded. So like they have a big following.
They showed up.
Especially since we've been doing the international series, them winning a Super Bowl definitely is going to get more eyes on them. So yeah, of course they should go
Yeah,
back.
I mean, and considering, and the thing is we knew that the Raiders are going to have a pretty good turnout over there, but the Seahawks at the game.
Oh my goodness. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was easily 70-30 in the Seahawks' favor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a home game for them.
Yeah. Rest of season prospects. Where do you have this team finishing out at, Kevin? What do you see for the rest of the season for the Seahawks?
7-9, maybe 8-8. The rest of their schedule is brutal, in my opinion. I mean, they got the Seahawks.
I agree with you, Kevin. I disagree with
and then
Omar.
the Panthers, but then the 49ers, the Vikings, the Chiefs, I mean, they maybe win 2, maybe 3 more games. So I give them 7-9, 8-8.
Yeah, Omar. What do you see?
I think I think if they can get to Green Bay, and Green Bay is vulnerable,
Right.
So they beat
And it's a Thursday night game, and they're the home team.
If they beat Green Bay,
5-5.
They 5-5.
Yes.
Then they play the 49ers twice, and they play the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals. That's 3 games they can win.
Yes.
That makes them 8-8.
Yeah, the only thing
If you look at their schedule, 8-8 is not a bad season.
It's not a bad season, and they still are in the mix. The thing about the Chiefs game is that's week 16, and the Chiefs could have things locked up, and they might not play people.
So that pushes them to 9-7.
Right. So then
which
you
is
have
now,
you have only 1 coming out of the East.
Okay.
You have probably 2 coming out of the North. Leave the Rams out of it.
Yeah.
Right. You probably have 2 coming out of the South.
Yes.
So that last spot could come from the West.
It could
them.
It could be them.
Because
Interesting.
it's not going to be Philly.
Nah. I think New Orleans is going to dust off their season this Sunday. Let's move to the Oakland Raiders. As I said, they're 1-8. They've gone 0-3 since London. They have been outscored in those 3 games, a total of 96-37.
28 of them came in 1 game.
I'm going to go to Junior Blue to ask the positivity question, which is, give me one thing less that has gone right since London. I'll wait.
We got number 1 pick for Amari Cooper.
Thank you. That was the only one I had.
Kenyon, next question.
I actually have one, though.
You got one.
Yeah, Derek Carr hasn't thrown a pick since week 5. He hasn't turned it. Well, he might have fumbled, but he hasn't thrown a pick.
He hasn't thrown a pick. Well, why hasn't he thrown a pick since week 5?
He hasn't thrown a pass between 7 yards.
You said positive.
Can we get to the negative real quick?
I appreciate that, Devin. Thank you.
Hey, man.
That's research.
Good try.
I had to dig deep. What's gone wrong since London? Not the whole season, guys. Just since London, what's gone wrong? Kevin?
Everything.
Thanos,
they haven't
Thanos
scored a
snapped his
touchdown
fingers.
since before Halloween, I think. 7 games this year without scoring more than 20 points. I mean, they put up some points against Indy, but that, like Les said, that was it. I haven't taken anything away since London.
6 points, 3 points, and 3 points.
They have quit.
It's 3 out of the last 4 games.
And that's worse than anything. They've
Yeah.
quit.
And they've quit.
Not only that, I mean, they haven't lost by less than 13.
They quit.
It's
Devin,
funny. I
stop
didn't
it.
feel like they quit against I was about to say San Diego, but against the LA Chargers, they didn't look like they quit. Their
No, 'cause they
defense was
quit the
actually
week
playing.
before.
Oh, they definitely quit
They
against
quit,
40.
and that's
they
it.
was like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
We at home too.
Man.
Should they be invited back, guys? Should they be invited back to London?
Yeah, absolutely. They're a historic franchise that has a big, big following.
We ain't got no choice. We might not have a home next year. We gonna play in Mexico. We gonna play in Brazil,
Canada.
Australia, Canada. We gonna play everywhere.
Any comers.
That's actually
They're going to play
brilliant.
4 games in Tottenham.
Oh my gosh! I don't think they should be invited back. I don't. They're that bad. I mean, they're under reconstruction.
But the
it's
problem-
bad. It's a bad product.
But the problem is with the agreement to go to Vegas, we have to play an international game.
Sorry, Ryan's dad.
Ooh.
Yep. And it looks like we'll talk about
But,
it
you
later.
know, that could be Mexico. That, you know,
could.
Yeah.
Well, we gonna talk about that later too.
That's what I'm saying.
The last time Mexico
the
blew it,
Raiders-
Hips don't lie, baby.
If the Raiders playing in London is what it takes to get that guy to go from less to less A, we could do this every week.
Let's say it was on.
all right, Kev, I'll stay with you. And now ask it in a different. We actually have a bonus question for the Raiders, which I think will be fun. Rest of season prospects, and I'll drill down and ask you this. Ask it in this way: are they going to win another game this year, Kevin?
Without looking at their schedule, no. I don't see it. Maybe the Broncos game, but everything outside of that, you got teams that either are playoff teams or fighting for playoff spots. So B.
It makes no sense for them to win another game.
At all.
Yeah, why would you?
It only hurts them.
No. Junior Blue,
No.
are you going to pick them to win another game?
No. The Colt
He
game.
only 2 picks out of
Hold
the
on.
league. You better not.
The Colt game and the 49er game taught me my lesson.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll say the Colts is better than, I think the Colts are better than, they've gotten better. Yeah, they've gotten better. But the 49er game, that was a low point.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was.
Can I ask you a question?
I bet
though?
my free hunting on it.
300. So obviously, with all these picks, you got hella first round picks. Do you think that you guys should go the approach where it's we have a need, we need to draft need, or do you go the Ozzy route and do best available? Because I think it should be the latter.
I think we should go best available, mainly because our needs are 22.
Is that where we're going?
Wow, 22, huh?
Our needs are 22.
So let's stay.
Jesus.
Let's stay right there. Give me the plan that turns these Raiders around in 2019 when you're playing in San Francisco.
So we've been horrible on defense. Even when we had our 12-4 year,
Yes.
we were horrific.
Yes.
So as far as drafting, I draft defensive players. Number one, I'm gonna draft Bosa. Then I'm gonna go with the safety from Alabama with the Cowboys pick.
Y'all gonna pay him right though, and get the language right on the contract because you
It
know he has
gotta
a
be.
brother.
It
and
gotta
a
be
father.
right.
Who don't play that?
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm gonna go middle linebacker. So I'm gonna take each level of the defense.
Okay.
And put someone there.
With
I'm gonna go with
draft
Devin,
picks.
Devin White from LSU.
Okay.
That's using our draft pick, the Bears draft pick, and Dallas's draft pick.
Okay.
With the free agent, in the second round,
That
I'll
was
pick up
a good pick.
Yeah, it's gonna it's getting better. It's gonna get better. With the second round, I'm probably gonna go after the receiver from Miami, Richards, because they need a playmaker. They need someone with speed that some 4-3 can catch a bigger body because as of right now, we have no one.
Your best playmaker is Jared Cook on the outside.
Exactly. So that can't
And they
work.
are already scheming for his ass.
Yes. So free agency.
Yes.
Once I hit free agency, I'm gonna go after Frank Clark,
Okay.
the DN,
DN
from Seattle.
Seattle.
He might get franchised. I'm not a huge fan of Clowney from
Jadeveon.
Houston, but if we match those Bosa with either Clark or Clowney, I think that gives us those DNs that we need. Clowney's not going to cost as much as Mac, probably $8 million less a year, and that sets our defense up because our tackles are good. I don't have a problem with our defensive tackles.
So what about Arden Key and PJ Hall? I thought those guys.
Well, PJ Hall's a defensive tackle. He's a tackle. Arden Key, he hasn't shown much. He's shown a little bit, but I think he needs somebody on the other side, whether it be Bosa and they can rotate him in.
Okay.
So that's the thing. And I think our defensive line will be straight.
So you're spending money on the line.
Yeah, spending money on line. I'm going to bring in an older wide receiver or someone who can get it done. He's 30, 31, Golden Tate.
Okay.
I think he will work perfect in the slot. And that's kind of where, and then I add a cornerback, Bradley Roby. Now, with those 3 players, I'm expecting probably about maybe 35, 40 million for those 3 players. We'll still have roughly 50 million to spend. But I think if you add those as your foundation, we'll be on the right track. Now, that is what I would do.
Right. See, I've been over here like, wait a second.
But I could see Gruden turning around and saying, we're going to pick quarterback first.
So do you think Gruden is off of Carr?
I do. I just think every comment he makes after the game is something where I'm with him, he just has to do this. I'm with him, he just has to do this. Every
too much
week
fake
it's
hustle.
something.
Like they're
exactly.
going over the top to say how much they have a good relationship.
And the thing about it is, every week it's something different.
Yeah.
And to me, that's after 9 weeks. You done said 9 different things he got to do.
All he got to do is all that.
Okay. Redo?
Well, again, my next question was, okay, that's everything you said makes sense, but we know John Gruden is not going to do
So what
makes
is Gruden
sense.
going to do, Redo?
He's going to fuck up the money.
Not his.
Right.
His guaranteed.
I am not a believer in Gruden doing the right thing. He had players he could keep, but because they're not his players, he wants to get rid of them. Like, I understand the rebuild because my team just went through it. Ryan Pace just did it in 4 seasons. I think we only have 1 or 2 players. Cal Long's probably one of the only starter who was on our team who was here 4 years ago. So he was just nicer about it and less of an asshole. So and then plus, we're not the Raiders. So it wasn't as such of a big thing. The way John Gruden did it by trading the way he traded Mac. He didn't talk to Mac. It's the way he did everything.
There's really conflicting stories on that because there's also stories that Mac didn't want to communicate or wasn't returning phone calls. My thing outside of Mac, who we've gotten rid of, hasn't done much. Amari Cooper, I don't know if it's quarterback or if it's just Amari Cooper, but he'll get 70 yards. He'll get 60 yards. He'll play like that. But everybody else we've gotten rid of, you can't even name what team they're on. Are they even in the league? So, I mean, you trade him, you cut him. Mario Edwards, we thought he was going to be good.
Yeah.
He's not in the league.
He's not in the
Obi,
league.
he's not in the league.
Yeah.
Travis Carey gets...
Patriots just picked him up.
Okay. He won't play. He'll be out of the league in 2 weeks. It's just so... I don't like how he's gone about it,
Right.
but I'm not outside of Mac. And I told you before, it was a money thing. I'm not mad at who he's gotten rid of. Maybe the way he comes off,
Right.
the arrogance, the my way or the highway. But it's not like he's gotten rid of players that were great, that were transcendent outside of Mac.
Do you trust his
But like
judgment
this,
of talent?
I will give him this draft to tell you yes or no.
Okay.
Kevin,
That's fair.
Kevin, what's your prescription to fix the Raiders this offseason?
I actually agree with a lot of what Les was saying. My number one concern would be is that if you're going to stick with David Carr, if he's your guy, whether you want to or not, if he's going to be the quarterback, then what does it take to build that offense around him to work towards his strengths? Because you see who you're going to have to beat in that division now. It's Patrick Mahomes and that young talent he has around him. What is it going to take to get Derek Carr to playing at the level that he was at, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago when he was in the MVP race before he broke his leg? Because of course, you watch more than we do, Les. What would it take? What kind of offense needs to be built to work around David Carr?
He has to have
Derek Carr, sorry.
He has to have a top 2 offensive line. And that's the only way he'll work. Because where we see other quarterbacks thrive under pressure, he doesn't. As soon as he gets pressure, he gets happy feet. I remember Jim Everett. Oh. He's like Jim Everett in the pocket. Yeah. As soon as there's any kind of pressure,
do that though.
In the broken back. I mean, it's just any kind of pressure, passes go errant.
The word is skittish.
Not the same. Yeah.
I mean, you look at that 4th down play from Sunday's game, and
just throw the ball away.
You have to make a play, and instead of him making a play, he just threw the ball out of bounds. That's not an option on 4th down.
No.
So he's skittish. So is Derek Carr does John Gruden need to move away from him? Dave?
Well, I don't think so, because I agree with what Les has in store if he was the GM to do, because I think if you already have paid him, you have all these picks and you have money, so get the talent around him better, because if there isn't a big star quarterback coming out in this upcoming draft. Why waste that? But we know Gruden is a quarterback guy, and he wants his own quarterback.
He is a self-proclaimed quarterback
because he's never developed a quarterback.
Keyshawn Johnson been screaming it forever.
Can't stand it.
And I'm telling you, this season it's really making Keyshawn look like
a genius.
He's
like
on
he
to
knows
something.
What he's talking about.
It's really questionable. What's interesting to me is none of you guys have, I mean, and I don't know if maybe you had it and just didn't get around to mention it, but no one's talking about LeVeon being on the radar for the Raiders. That feels like a big John Gruden move to me.
That
to
was
go out there
being saved for later.
When we got to that segment,
that's why I left the additional $40 million on the table.
Sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go to Hot Topics, and we'll start at football team Hot Topics with Le'Veon Bell. And it was announced today. It's official. He let the deadline pass. He didn't show up, which I don't think any of us were really surprised about. Once it was reported that, according to the collective bargaining agreement in the fine print, Le'Veon didn't necessarily have to show up to be able to get into free agency because he had enough accrued years. That story has been beaten down into the ground.
Technically, it's because he's what's the transition tag, but they would have to pay him $26 million, and we know Pittsburgh is not going to pay him $26 million.
Right, but the point is that he still has enough accrued years to be in that space, and yes, he's not going to be transition tagged. Or there's actually 2 tags. So there's one tag. There are 2 tags that they could apply. There's the one tag that is a franchise. They could franchise tag him, but the rate would be at the level of a quarterback. But they could apply a transition tag, which gives them first right of refusal, a lot like a restricted free agent in basketball. They can match whatever is applied to him.
But no one believes that's going to happen.
Well, we will see. As far as that goes, I think it depends on how this season plays out for Pittsburgh. Quite honestly, I think if they flame out in the playoffs, or if Connor loses steam, and if the market is lukewarm,
I don't know. I think it's too fractured.
Yeah. I don't see him coming back. I really don't think so. I think if Connor flames out, and if the market is not as hot as he thinks it is, now a lot of people around the game are reporting that for sure Le'Veon's agents have been spoken to and basically have said, listen, don't show up, and we're going to take care of you in the off season. So we will see. But I think if the market is not as hot as they think it's going to be, I think that could be.
There was a trade damn near in place with Philly, but they,
second round pick. They wanted the second round pick. But my question for you guys is, and I'll start with you, Kevin. Give me the team and the contract numbers for Le'Veon in 2019.
I think Indianapolis is the best fit for him. They got too much goddamn money. Him and Adisa Bakari are going to show up to a blank check, and they're going to say, whatever you need, pay me. I think, what's Todd Gurley making?
4 years,
75.
60.
I think
Like
63.
per year. What is it per year?
I don't know.
Like
It's 45
17.
guaranteed or something.
Like 17 million
Like
per
17
year.
million, yeah.
I think he would take 18, 17, 18. I think he would settle for it.
So that was my team as well. And here's the thing, and I'll give you the years. I think it's a 3-year deal with Indianapolis because all contracts for the Colts are off the books in 2022. So 19, 20, 21, 3-year deal, fully guaranteed. I got 60 million.
I had 60 million, but I had two teams, 49ers and the Colts.
Do you think he gets more than Gurley though?
Yes.
I don't
Really?
think he does.
Me neither.
I don't think he does.
I think he does because from the Colts perspective, I think he does because they got the money to do it, and because when you think about where the Colts are right now, they are one playmaker away.
Yes.
And he's
Yes.
that playmaker.
Well-
the offensive line has gotten together. Andrew Luck has gotten around, and Le'Veon Bell is that guy on the turf, fast turf, and they have the money to do it because their best players outside of T.Y. Hilton and Andrew Luck are all rookies, are all on first-year deals. Malik Hooker, Quentin Nelson.
So if
They got the money to do it. That's why I think they would.
so if they go that route, they're already paying Luck a shit ton, and then they'll be
It's
paying.
Luck and T.Y. Hilton. That's it.
But then are they going to have room to make other? I mean, because then they're going to wind up in the same boat they were in, where they had Luck and they had nobody else.
No, they have. I want to say that the number's like 100 million in cap space. They got the money to do it.
Yeah, they got nothing but money.
They got
I
nothing
went
but
with what
money.
Omar said a few weeks ago is the Jets, because the Jets have
Yeah.
so much money, big market, right? I think the number is 4 years, 50 million. I think it's less than Gurley. But you have a young rookie quarterback that you can build around, kind of similar to Peyton Manning coming into Indy with Marshall Faulk there on his way out, and he can kind of help him grow, give him more targets, more of a weapon, and he's in the Big Apple.
Where's Ted Marchibroda?
Don't sleep on the 49ers, though, man.
I had the Raiders
Uh-huh.
at 4 years, 50 million. I had it at 46 guaranteed.
Uh-huh.
I had a sleeper though, because in 2019, the Texans are going to be the Rams and go all in. They have
thought about
like
them too.
$70 million in cap space. They have the rookie scale quarterback. They're playing Hopkins.
That's
They're
also
most
the key.
likely going to let Clowney go.
Really? Are they going to let, because that was going to be my question. They got to pay Clowney.
It's too much.
Yeah. I think they want. I mean, Lamar Miller's not working. Alfred Blue. I mean, you have an offense that can be.
Explosive.
Oh, add Le'Veon Bell to that, to Hopkins and Watson and Fuller when he gets back.
And because there could be some pressure there, especially if the Colts are going to be in that same division. You're saying don't sleep on the Niners. What about McKinnon and...
Is any of them better than Bell?
no.
Can they compete in that division without Bell? The Rams are in that division.
What's Garoppolo?
Right.
They
That's
believe
the
they gave
problem.
him a. They believe
gave
in
him the bag.
Garoppolo.
They believe, but
Well,
what
that's
is he?
I tell you, I believe in Nick Mullins.
The Raiders do too.
If it ain't Garoppolo...
But you know, there's only a few teams that have enough money.
Yeah.
You know, and every team that was mentioned, and I think the 49ers will be under pressure. Lynch will be under pressure to compete with the Rams and the Seahawks.
It's interesting. As I said a little bit earlier, I teased it a little bit earlier, the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams were scheduled to play in Mexico City as part of the NFL International Series at Azteca Stadium. Unfortunately, Azteca Stadium is not ready. They had a concert apparently, and then the following day after the concert, they played a soccer game.
And the weather.
Yeah, and they've had bad weather again. Climate change is real, folks. Really hardcore thunderstorms, and so the NFL Players Union sent their reps out to the stadium, and they basically said it was a no-go. And I think the NFL, to get ahead of the story, so as not to make it look like the players are going to revolt, have basically canceled the game. The game is now in LA. Question I have for you guys is this a setback to the NFL's plan to appeal to the global market? Because, I mean, this is a huge game. They got lucky because you arguably have the two best teams that were going to be on the international stage on a Monday night. Now they're not there.
Well, it can't help because this is a game, like all you can do is refund people money. But you can't have players play on that field.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Anytime the players who are, and I think if this was a couple years ago, players may not have revolted as fast. Like, I think now the players are learning to stand up for themselves, and they're like, nope, this is not happening. But at the same time, it is for that type of game that was about to happen.
That's a huge
huge
game.
game.
I mean, it's going to be more than 60 points scored in the game. You've got Patrick Mahomes.
It was a perfect game.
It was a perfect game to have internationally.
The NFL's handling it correctly, though. They had a couple charity outreaches that they were going to do, and they're still going to go down there and do them. So it's not like they're just totally abandoning the process. And Mexico has to understand that field was not playable.
And I know they're going to release in the next couple of days their plan for refunding tickets. But what about the people that purchase plane tickets to go down there, like how we flew out to London?
Yeah.
Like, because plane tickets are not refundable.
I heard something about it on the radio. There's nothing guaranteed yet, but the league was going to be working with airlines. Also with season ticket holders. If they bought a ticket in Mexico, they get their seat already because they're a season ticket holder, but they have the first right to buy extra tickets if they want to. So, like, they're trying to take care of everybody.
And what was it? The Rams flew out to Colorado to try and get prepared.
So
there.
they're staying. Yeah, they're going to stay there, and they're going to fly back to LA on Saturday,
which could lead into how that game goes. Because one,
Yes.
Like a road game.
Not only are they doing that, but due to a large contingent of the personnel that works for the franchise with the wildfires have been displaced.
That's why they're staying.
So they also went to Colorado as well. So all that is playing a factor.
That was the only reason why they're really staying, is because it was the families are there too.
Yeah.
So it was like it didn't make sense for them
to come back home. What are they coming back home to anyway?
Right.
Which is crazy to say. Let's go to the AFC North in our Hot Topics football tea. Mr. Hugh Jackson, recently fired in Cleveland, is back in the coaching game, Kevin.
Didn't he go out well, though?
He went out well, and he landed on his feet. He's in Cincinnati with his brother Marvin Lewis. The question I have for you guys is, it smells like this might be the succession plan. Do you agree, Kev?
Yep, and I'm here for all of it. This is reparations at its finest. And I'm not going to sit back and criticize Marvin Lewis for bringing in his guy when the president of the goddamn United States got all kinds of people in his family working for him. Let Marvin Lewis do what the fuck they want to do. I'm here for it. I think Hugh deserves to be coaching.
Apparently, Marvin can do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
He's been doing it for the last, 12, 15 years.
Let me show you.
He's been doing a lot. I disagree for the simple fact that, one, that's a different kind of person that's able to pick and do what the fuck they want to do. We know in this slave mentality NFL that they ain't letting that shit happen. But more importantly, I don't think that they're going to let a coach who has a terrible win-loss record replace a guy who they should have gotten rid of 6 times over. I think this is more so to help them on this playoff run to try and save Marv's job because of how well Hugh and Andy meshed when he was the OC and quarterback coach there.
Junior Blue?
I actually agree with Def. I feel like their defense is what has slid in the last few weeks.
Oh, God, they giving it up.
Yeah. So, I mean,
51 at home.
And they need some help.
Interesting. It's an interesting move. I know that Hugh is beloved in Cincinnati, and I think we've all joked before that Marvin Lewis has something on Paul Brown. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know when he's gonna leave.
It could very well be
he want?
Right, and it could be like I'm gonna leave, and he was the guy next.
And he passed the picture on.
Yeah, he passed the picture on.
Hey,
he's gonna move up
over the text I
upstairs.
sent you.
He's gonna move on upstairs, and Hugh gonna slide on in, so we both getting checks.
So we both
and
getting
what you gonna
checks.
do about it?
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, well, let's get into our gambling segment, All In with Ken, sponsored by MyBookie. That's MyBookie.com. Minimum deposit of $50. MyBookie will match your bet up to 100%, up to $1,000. Use the promo code 32KR. Kenny Ken, take it away, sir.
All right, we've got, first of all, the New Orleans Saints going against the Philadelphia Eagles. I already told you earlier, the Saints is getting ready to dust off the Eagles season, so you can take the Saints straight up to win at home over the Philadelphia Eagles. Aside from the 34-13 victory that the Eagles had over the Giants, the Eagles have not scored more than 24 points all season. If you can't score, you're not beating the Saints on the road. Secondly, we've got the Indianapolis Colts going against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts right now are a -3 favorite. The Colts in their last 6 games have averaged 33 points. For the season, they're averaging 31 at home. The Titans averaged 17 points scored on the road. They got a very huge win against the Patriots last week at home. I smell a letdown game, and I like the Colts to cover at -3. Finally, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers, my Los Angeles Chargers, going against the Denver Broncos.
Sometimes.
We're going to do some math here. Are you guys ready? Transitive math. Here we go.
God.
The Los Angeles Chargers in their last 5 games have averaged 25 points scored. Bill Musgrave, who is the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, in his last 7 years as an offensive coordinator, the game after the bye, he averages 18 points scored. 25 plus 18 is 43. The Los Angeles Chargers at home, the average game total score for all of their games is 43. The line is 47. Take the under. Take the under in the Chargers versus the Broncos. Take the Colts to cover at -3. And take the Saints to win straight up over the Philadelphia Eagles. Put $100 down. Thank the league ambassadors. Once again, that's mybookie.com. The promo code is 32KR. And with that, let's get into our Week 11 picks. We were all relatively in the same ballpark with wins this weekend. I think Devin led the way with 9 wins on the season. Kevin is still our pace setter at 98 wins. Omar is
Holding you down,
still
baby.
holding it
Hey,
down.
he had a couple good weeks, but not this
Not
week.
At the bottom.
Almost 49ers, almost 49ers.
Let's go with, we got good games this weekend. Let's start with the game that Omar's especially interested in. The Chicago Bears, the spotlight's on you, baby. You're 6-3. We're in week 11. We've gotten a couple of your games flexed. The Sunday night game is a home game against the Minnesota Vikings. Red O, I know that you're picking the Bears. I want to know why we should be picking them.
Because we're going to whip their ass. We got the #1 defense in the league, and we coming for Cousins. That's why. I guarantee you there will be 3 to 4 sacks of Cousins in this game, and we will score 2 touchdowns. The defense.
Wow.
It's a bold prediction.
Yep.
It's a lot. It was a lot there to unpack, Kevin. Do you believe, Red O?
I like what the Bears are doing, but I don't believe in Omar. Not right now. Not yet, Omar.
I feel you. I understand.
Not yet.
You're going to come on the wrong side of history, though. It's cool.
Dad?
I actually agree with Omar. I think the Bears, if you put that defensive line up against that offensive line at home, I think it happens.
He'll be running for his life all game.
Junior Blue?
Bears.
Yeah?
Same reason.
I like the Bears, but not for what you said. I like the Bears
Money
because
Mitch.
the Vikings, in their 2 losses and their 1 tie, they gave up 29 in the tie to Green Bay. They gave up 38 to the Rams. They gave up 30 to the Saints. The Chicago Bears are averaging 30 points scored a game. The Chicago Bears are going to score too many points for the Minnesota
As long as
Vikings.
Cody Parkey don't fuck
I like the Bears at home. I've already told you, Titans, Colts. I'm taking the Colts. I like the Colts to cover. Dad, where you at with it?
flip a coin. Indy only because they're at home. That's it.
Junior Blue?
Indy.
Indy at the house.
Kevin? Clean sweep?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tennessee has the best defense in the NFL. And I also think Andrew Luck has never lost to the Titans. So I'm going with the football team in Indianapolis.
I don't think they have the best defense in the NFL. So I'm going to correct you.
Let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Rams. It went from being a game that was going to be in Mexico to now a game that will be at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. For anyone that cares, the game in Mexico City was a home game for the Rams that they were giving up. So all's well that ends well. Chiefs, Rams, who do you have, Redo?
This is my flip a coin because of the situation.
Yeah.
You know, their families are going through stress, you know, and the fact that they're practicing at altitude may help a little bit, but it's nothing like family stress on you and then trying to come play a game and concentrate. But I think they should beat the Chiefs if this was a normal week at the house. You know what I mean? So I'm going with the Rams. I'm going with the home team. I'm going with the
Rams,
home team.
Junior Blue.
I got the Rams mainly because I feel like the Rams defense can do better than KC's defense.
Everybody's words are elongated because they don't believe.
I mean, if they decide to run the ball up the middle, I don't know if the Rams can stop it, but
I've been saying it for Devin. How many weeks have I been saying it now?
Four.
The Rams cannot stop the run.
problem,
and Tyreek Hill. And see, the only reason why Seattle couldn't beat the Rams both times is because, again, I think they're missing that extra playmaker. The Chiefs have those playmakers in spades. Kareem Hunt, Andy Reid has gotten Kareem Hunt going. I think the Chiefs win, and I actually don't think it's close at all when you factor in all of the other things that are going on with the Rams. I think the Chiefs win comfortably, 7-8 points easily. Dad?
Yeah, I have the Chiefs for that factor. I mean, it's basically an away game because of all that, and I don't know how the Rams can stop the Chiefs. That defense is not as advertised, and they can do whatever they want.
And D Ford quietly has started to get the pass rush going for the Chiefs. Kev, where you at with it?
I third that. The Chiefs beat them, and I think it's at least by 10 points.
When they signed Sue, my main problem was Donald and Sue go after the quarterback. When you have two defensive tackles that go after the quarterback, you're going to give up the run.
Mm-hmm. They're giving it up. All right. That has been another episode of 32 Kings Road. Thank you for hanging out with us. As a reminder, please, again, follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Also, please check out our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. Please rate and subscribe to our channel. Check out our website, theleagueam.com. We will see you next week. Cheerio.
Shout out to the ladies in Philly.
7 names, no games as I run it down the line. We got Kenny Ken, put 100 on the T's with the streak for the cash. ESPN, Seth Curry with the shot. The prodigy. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, El Dad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the League Ambassadors, and we playing to win. At the 2-yard line, and make no mistake, we running it in.